Hey YouTube! Welcome to this instructional video on how to use CubePress, an iOS app that I've designed to work with a modified Raspberry Pi Pico version of the Cupertino robot. Today, I'm going to go over 4 things with you. First, we're going to go over how you would go onto my GitHub and download the project. Then, I'll teach you guys how to upload the project to your Cupertino and your iOS device of your choosing. For me, it's this iPhone. Then we're going to go over establishing a Wi-Fi connection between your Cupertino and the iOS device of your choosing. And finally, we'll cover how you can fine-tune the settings in CubePress to make sure that your Cupertino is turning efficiently. Let's get started. To download my code, first you'll need to go to the GitHub page that I've provided in the link below. Once you're there, you'll see this screen, and right at the top you can see this green code button. Select it, and you'll find 2 options. One is open with GitHub Desktop, and the other is download with zip. If you choose to download a zip file, you'll need to manually unzip it and then place it into a location of your choosing. But personally, I like to select open with GitHub Desktop. I have GitHub Desktop, and it really helps me manage where my files are and prevent them from getting lost, frankly, which is really important to me. Once you finish downloading my code, then you're going to need to upload it both onto the iOS device and onto the Cupertino. Let's cover the iOS device first. To do that, I use Xcode. So I like to open up Xcode here and then find the client portion of the CubePress folder that I've just downloaded and open that as a project in Xcode. Client is going to refer to all the code that's going to be going onto the iOS device, and server refers to all the code that goes onto the Cupertino, and you'll see what I mean more in a little bit. Now that I have my project open in Xcode, then I need to make sure that I select the correct iOS device to upload it to. To do so, I go to this drop-down menu here and select my phone. For me, it's Bob's iPhone. And then to upload the app from my computer to the iOS device, I simply press play, which will install it and start running it. Now that you have it uploaded to the iOS device of your choosing, next we're going to need to go and get the server portion of our code onto the Raspberry Pi Pico portion of our Cupertino. And to do that, I use Thonny, which you've probably already installed to get your Cupertino working in the first place. So right here I have Thonny open, and I go up to Run, Configure Interpreter, select MicroPython ESP32, which is my chip, and then press OK, and that's going to connect you to your Cupertino. And then once you have that going, you're going to need to press stop to kind of initiate a connection, and then under save, you can go to your MicroPython device here, and you won't have these uploaded, these files here, but all these files are actually in the server section of the CubePress application. And so you're going to take those files and upload them right here. And once you've got that all uploaded, we're going to need to actually edit a portion of one of these files so that your Wi-Fi credentials are set up properly. And to set up the Wi-Fi credentials properly, we're going to first want to save all our files to the MicroPython device. So like that. I press cancel because mine are already saved. But yeah, you guys are going to want to save it, obviously. Then once you've done that, go to Open, and then select the MicroPython device, and then select the secrets folder here and open that. And inside you'll have 2 things that you need to fill out. The SSID is kind of your local Wi-Fi name, and then your password obviously is the password for that Wi-Fi. I've blurred mine out here, but something that's really crucial to remember is that these values need to be inside single quotes. And so if your Wi-Fi name was like X, something, and then your password was Y something, you need to make sure that those 2 things were in quotes like this. And if you don't do that, they're not going to be parsed properly in the application, and it'll throw things off. So just make sure this is right, because I've made this mistake before and it's hard to catch. Hey, I moved, but for this next section, we're actually going to need to look at the bottom left corner of my screen. So I decided to pop on up here so I'm not in the way. Anyways, to run the application on your Cupertino, what you're going to want to do is go to Open and then go to MicroPython device and then select main.py. I've already done this, which is why you can see the file in the background right now. But once you select that, this file will pop up. And don't worry about editing this at all. This is just a bunch of code, and yeah, just leave it alone. But the important part is when you select run, you'll be able to see a readout at the bottom of your screen. And most importantly, there's going to be something called an IP right here. And you're going to want to make sure you record this number, because later on, we're going to use this number to connect our iOS device to our Cupertino and get them actually listening to each other. All right, so now that we have our software uploaded both to our Cupertino and our iOS device of our choosing, next we're going to want to launch both of these programs and make sure that they're communicating. And to do that, we actually already have our Cupertino running, as you can see on the bottom here. And then we're going to go into our iPhone, open CubePress like so, and then go to the bottom right tab, which is Settings. Under Settings, you're going to see a panel called Connected On, and that's where you're going to enter the IP address that you just recorded. Once you've entered the correct IP address onto your iOS device, the Cupertino and your device should be communicating properly. You're also going to want to edit the 6 values that determine where your Cupertino turns precisely to. And to do this, they're under 2 groups, the ARM servo settings and the table servo settings. Each one, when you select it, you'll see the current value, and then you can also edit this value and change it to another number. To kind of write the number to your Cupertino, you're going to need to press the button that says Set Value. And so if I want to change my middle value here from 123,333 to zeros at the end, I would just go like this and then press Set Middle Value. And you'll see in your shell readout that the value has actually been changed. Once we have all the settings finally calibrated, it's time to start scanning our cube in. And to do that, we're going to need to make sure of a couple things. First, you want to place your cube, it can be scrambled, into your Cupertino, and make sure that the center blue piece is in the front and the center white piece is on the top, like so. And then we're going to go over to the camera portion of CubePress, like there, and then make sure that our boxes on our screen line up well with the cube itself, because now we're going to start taking pictures and rotating the cube to scan in the different faces. Next, I'll demonstrate. All right, so now that we have our scan completed, we can go over to the map portion and double check it to make sure that all the sides were scanned in properly. As I can see here, most of them were scanned in properly, but if I need to edit one, for example, the red right here was actually scanned in as orange, you can see so because the center picture is of a red square, but the perimeter is of, it's an orange perimeter, which means the app perceives it to be orange. So I press the square in question, and then I select the correct color, which in this case is red, to correct the error. Once I'm sure that all of my squares are properly scanned in here, then I can press solve, and it's as simple as that. Oh, one more thing. You need to make sure that, again, the blue is in the front and the white is on the top, like so. And then now that it's all scanned in, I just press solve. And finally, we're left with a solved Rubik's Cube. So you should finally have a working version of CubePress. And yeah, just let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe. Have a good one.